so let's call this meeting to order for the Middlesex Select Board at 5 o'clock, 5:01, Tuesday, June 17th at the Middlesex Town Hall. And welcome to our guests in the audience. We have a big audience, and we have a couple of people on Zoom as well. And if you would like to speak during the meeting, you just raise your hand. Oh, here's Carol, she's here.
Sorry,
No worries. Here, if you want to sit here.
Yay, Carol, you can sit here. We just called the meeting to order, Carol. So if you want to talk, just raise your hand, and I will address you. And if you want to talk online, just raise your hand on the Zoom, or you can unmute yourself if you don't know how to raise your hand on the Zoom. So I just want to, before we start the meeting, we had a little bit of confusion on the Zoom links for the public hearing. And so the public hearing is on a different Zoom link that is on the warning for the public hearing, which is online. So you're going to have to we're going to get off of this Zoom link slightly before 6 o'clock and sign on to the Zoom link that is the public hearings Zoom link. Is there anyone that's online right now that doesn't know what that Zoom link is? Nancy, I don't know if you're here for that hearing or you care about that. Okay, no response from Nancy. So hopefully when we sign off, or maybe some people will join like right before 6, and we can just tell them we're gonna change. Okay. So the first order is to approve the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 meeting. Is there any motion for that, approving the minutes of the June 3rd?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, so Larry moves, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Zara seconds. All those in favor of moving the June 3rd minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, yep, and Paul
Recuse
abstains
myself,
because
yeah.
Paul was not here. Now, are there any amendments to the agenda for June 17th before we approve those? My only sort of amendment is to talk about this thing that came up with Sam and Shelley about the grievance hearings and the board having made any kind of decision in the past since January, which I don't think we have. And Zara, you and I are the only 2 remaining board members, around whether or not we require people to record their meetings, like subcommittees, and then post them on the website, or if we had voted to say it was an undue hardship that I don't remember.
If we did vote it, we voted it was undue hardship because we don't have the IT.
Right.
Sarah was complaining about loading things to the web.
Yeah.
We've been using What's Next Middlesex, and definitely not to load Zoom. I wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah,
We don't-
I think
If we haven't,
the
we should.
conversation rings a bell about how it's really hard to do it, but I don't remember making any kind of official decision.
No, so maybe.
So, I mean, I think for this time, even though we can't really vote on it, that we would, for at least this weekend, you'd do undue hardship. And, I mean, are you taking minutes too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so, and you would post the minutes, and so, so anyway, let's talk about that at the end. You guys don't have to stay all the way to the end if you don't want to, but, so we're gonna add that to the agenda. And
How do you want that captured?
I would call it recording of grievances, tax, what are they called, tax,
It's technically.
property tax
It's
grievances.
technically open meeting law,
Right.
but
Yeah.
grievance hearings fall under the open meeting law.
Yeah, so whether or not we actually have to record and post grievances
The other,
as per, the new law. But we can also say that it's undue hardship, so we don't have to do it. So we're gonna have that discussion about whether or not we have to post or we can claim undue hardship.
the only other thing that I see missing, which I thought was on here, but then is not,
Oh, yeah, I
the
posted.
cemetery thing.
Yeah, so I added that on the posting on Front Porch Forum. So under other business, we'll just talk about potentially clearing the brush in the cemetery and what that might cost and stuff. We probably won't make any decision on that right now. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the June 17th minutes with those minor agenda adjustments?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Paul moves that. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, Larry seconds. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. And we are now on to the Budget Committee presentation. Oh, there you are, Mark. I'm like, I saw you over there, and then I saw you here. Right, so I did hand out to folks two documents. The first thing that Mark is gonna talk about is the wage range recommendations that he and the Budget Committee came up with. And then also, we'll have a little discussion of the near future capital items that are in the capital spending plan budget. So you may take it away, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. So, we were in discussions in the Budget Committee about wage ranges when, I think it was Elias, let us know that as of July 1st, there's a state law that towns have to advertise positions either by salary or by wage range. So
Oh, wow.
it was sort of coincidental that we were discussing wage ranges, and that was brought up really by Sam, our newest member, some months ago, and she asked, why don't we have wage ranges? And we said, oh, that's a very good question, we don't know. Let's take a look here and try to figure things out. So I hope folks have had an opportunity to at least browse the recommendation. So a couple key points about it. Some background, I think in 2021, we did update the town wages by looking at the Vermont League of Cities and Towns data as reference, and then sort of, pivoting to establishing some higher wages for both full and part-time employees, because there was concern at that point in the middle of COVID that we would be losing, or had lost, some key personnel and how we could retain them. So we sort of bumped everything up. Some of it was scientific, some of it was not. And that's basically where we've been, I think, since 2021. In addition, each budget year, we're bumping those wages up by some merit increase as well. So what we did is we took a look at the VLCT data from 2024, and we decided as a group, to remain competitive, maybe we should take the average of the positions that we have that's in the VLCT data and take a 10% premium for our midpoint, just to give us a decent competitive starting point. So that was one thing we did. The other thing is we sort of thought about how wide should these ranges be. If you have a wage range that's $10 wide, which we're suggesting for full-time employees, that's about $20,800 for a range, which is a pretty good range. I come from corporate America, it's not a bad range to start with. And part-time, we said, well, maybe we should make it a $5 range. That would be about $10,400 for a range. So that was sort of our thinking on the, just trying to put a bracket, if you will, on the ranges. The other thing was, in this proposal, we looked at towns that have populations that are in our ballpark. So think about populations between maybe 1,500 and 2,000 people, because we're in 1,700 and change. And so we looked at 18 towns And surprisingly, 15 of those towns combine the clerk and the treasurer as one position. So that's why you see in this proposal, we currently have a person who's has those two positions. Maybe it's time for us just to say, hey, let's have a combo position. We have a person in the role, and if we ever split it out again, we could do that. Because, again, it was a little easier when we looked at it. Of the 18 towns, 15 had combos and 3 only had separate positions. And surprisingly, those people worked very few hours. It was very strange. So generally, when we looked at our current wages for full-time positions, you'll see in the first table at the end of the first page, we're pretty competitive.
Mhm.
You know, we're looking pretty good. We're in the range, you know, what we're compensating people at, and we're comfortably in the range. So the other recommendation is, it wouldn't be a bad idea just to bump these wages each year by the rate of inflation. You know, rather than waiting 3 or 4 or 5 years and going back to the LCT data, why not just bump the wages every year? Because we have some longer-term employees on the road crew, and it would be nice not to price them out of a merit increase each year. So that's the other recommendation. So from the full-time position, it looks pretty good, even with the combined town clerk treasurer position. On the part-time side, we still look pretty good, except we couldn't find any data for listers. That was kind of tough. So you can see why that's blank. The other thing is that we have a couple positions where we're either over or under the range. Delinquent tax collector, because we're really paying our town clerk treasurer at the same rate. You can see that's above the range. Assistant zoning administrator is actually what we're paying right now is below the average range that we would set. And the health officer and animal control officer are significantly or comfortably above the ranges. But again, I can't remember how we came up with the wages for those last two, but they might have been somewhat ad hoc. So again, we're not suggesting, oh, because we're paying these people this much money, we need to reduce their wage to get them in the range. You could change the range, you could leave the range as it is and let the range catch up to them. You can do any other thing you want. I mean, there's really not a lot we have to do, but we do have to think about advertising in terms of a wage range going forward. So that's, you know, part of the impetus. It just happened to be coincidental for this proposal. So I'll open the meeting to questions and comments from folks.
I have a comment. So just thinking about like in my other life of work, and when you do these wage studies and you see that like, oh, we're not paying like the road crew, for example, the highway crew, you know, the current rate, the proposed minimum is $26.70, but our lowest is $23.80. And so, you know, if we were to say, and then we also have to remember, we've already budgeted for this next year. So we're talking about
2027.
our
Yeah.
budgeting season starting in November, right? Or October, when we start doing budgeting, season. Is that other people say, well, why did this person get a $2 an hour raise and I only got a 50-cent raise? And I think we just have to be mindful of that. I mean, it does make sense if we're gonna do this across the board and we're not gonna lower anyone's wage. But, you know, this can be a good point for any new hires, but also to bring anyone who's not necessarily up to where perhaps they should be. So I think that when, you know, one of the things that, I don't know if this is something that we vote on.
No, it's just something the budget committee put together as,
Well, you can decide to vote on it. I mean, you
We
can
could decide to
decide
vote
to
on it,
make
right.
it part and parcel of the town operations. So it's a good point you made, Liz, because, again, I come from corporate America, right? Used to use the hate point analysis, other things. And again, when somebody fell below the range, at the next budgeting cycle, they'd be brought up to the midpoint. The other thing about having a wage range is, now you get to decide based on the experience of the person coming in, where to put them, right? You can put them at the bottom if they're inexperienced, if they're, they've had some years of experience, you can decide where to put them, rather than paying everybody the same.
Yeah, I look at it in my tenure as road foreman, we never had anybody that didn't come with a CDL or what our requirements were within the posted position. Eric, I think you guys now have
Yeah, we
had that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unique where that technically, even though we had a qualified applicant, did not have all of the qualities we were hoping. So it definitely is a bit of a uniqueness on the lower end, and maybe there's, I don't know, there's some negotiations on that, like looking into the future, and that's where I see this very applicable, Mark. So that range is good. I think like a bid almost, we have the right to reject or accept any type of, within that. But otherwise, it's awesome information.
Yeah, it's really good information.
This is great. But that's definitely one that I see us being very applicable as a unique situation is on the road crew for sure.
Right. I mean, and I think too, if we are gonna be required to be posting salaries, like publicly, like somebody can just look up and see how much does our treasurer make, or what's our,
I think Elias will answer that.
yeah,
So this is coming out of Act 155, and the Attorney General's office actually has a good little summary on their website.
Okay.
But basically, any employer with 5 or more employees, when they advertise for a job,
Okay.
has to put out a wage range that in good faith is what they think they'll pay. So it doesn't limit your ability to negotiate. If you have someone who comes in who doesn't meet all your qualifications, you could say, we're not gonna pay you what we said was our minimum. But it's just like your good faith estimate of what you think is the minimum and maximum.
okay, so
for
it's
job.
not that someone can go and look up what Cheryl is making right this
No,
minute?
just
Right,
when
not-
advertised.
It's
like
just
state
in advertising
salaries.
for a job?
Right, not like
Gotcha.
state salaries where you can look it up, yep.
Okay, well, I mean, then I think also it's helpful to have this wage range then, because if we're gonna be posting jobs, we know, and every year the budget committee just would look at this with, the lens of what are we, what's happening now, is this just a, 2% increase or 3% increase? So this is a lot of work, so did you just call up, like, towns and ask them?
No,
or-
actually, the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns data is pretty comprehensive.
Oh, good,
It's,
okay,
it's a massive
nice,
PowerPoint, and, they have it by position, it's amazing.
We have to do a
and by
wage
town.
summary, I have to do a thing every single year, and so we can participate in that.
Yeah,
So we
because
get
we're
the
in it.
information for
Nice.
free,
Yeah,
or you
we're
have
in
to
it.
buy the information
Yeah.
if you don't do it. Haven't had time this year to do it, but
Hmm.
it's voluntarily, they don't say, you gotta do this.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
Um,
Stacy.
I just wanted to express my appreciation for the due diligence involved in putting this information together. It seems thorough and just well researched. And thank you for taking the time to do that so that we can make a well-informed decision on this.
Yes, here.
One other thing that I did mention to Mark, before I saw an ad for like an assistant assessor, and that was in the $30 range. So if we are going to be voting on a list, maybe we could add some jobs in that we don't even have now, so we can see what a great deal we're getting with listers over assessors, or with clerks versus town managers and that sort of thing. So that we know what it would cost us if we were to go in a different direction.
Right, yeah, a town manager in particular, or administrator, I would be curious what those positions are, because did I hear you say, I was a little confused about who you were talking about, that they didn't work that many hours?
That was when they had a separate clerk and a separate treasurer
Oh, interesting,
versus a
okay,
combo
yeah.
position.
Because I think when you have a town administrator, the town clerk's duties are just very much just town clerk. Well, and the select board really doesn't do much either, but, okay, yeah, so, I think that would be great, and then I think it would be a good idea for us to vote on it before we start budgeting season, and just have it be a, document that gets updated every year, unless people disagree with me on that. And again, it doesn't mean we have to, but this is like our,
Knowledge is power.
yeah, and it's our sort of recommended wage
It's
range.
like a baseline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is a great, I mean, it's very,
Yeah.
and it's up to date.
Yep.
This is not, yeah, I mean, and it's, I certainly like the fact that where we fall in this, especially, we've worked a long time with our, select board to get our full-time
Yeah.
employees, especially the road crew,
yeah,
kind of up to what we consider to be competitive,
Yeah.
And this is less any benefits,
Right,
obviously, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
so thank you for all that work. So we'll put this aside for another meeting. Mark, you can just let us know when I'm thinking it would be good to definitely do it before,
We're
You know,
gonna
maybe
meet
a
again in
September or
August,
something,
right?
or-
So
yeah, so maybe in
September makes
September,
sense.
okay.
Late
So let's
summer?
do a revisit in September with
Great.
a vote. With the select board adopting this. Adopting, recommended pay scale, we'll call it. Okay, great, and so now we're moving on to Mark and the near future capital items.
Okay, so the top half is just a snapshot. Cheryl, I took the 12/31/24 figures and then just added our allotments in the current budget year to the 6/30/25. I didn't bother trying to calculate interest, because that would be
That's okay.
a long and winding road. So upcoming capital expenditures, and Eric and I have had a discussion on the first one, the international dump truck, when we're gonna purchase that, so, and I've mentioned in the comments, if we keep a spare and we don't trade in the current truck, then we'll just basically pay full price, we won't get the 15% trade-in value, so just to keep that in mind. And again, I think most of the dollar figures, the prices in the capital asset inventory, particularly for vehicles and heavy equipment, those are numbers that were populated back in 2021. So we're not sure what the actual cost is now.
You're off.
So the cost you're seeing for heavy equipment or trucks is based on what was input in 2021. So we're talking about a 4-year-old cost.
So what are we looking at then?
We don't know, we have to go reprice, obviously.
Well, Eric's just priced out.
The truck alone, without any snow equipment on, it's gonna be $190.
Oh, hey, it's
But that-
gone down.
No, that's without any equipment. With
Okay,
equipment,
what's the fully loaded price?
Yeah.
Any idea?
Probably close to 3.
Okay, so,
Probably 290.
yep,
So that's $290 without a trade-in.
yeah, okay.
and the reason for that, Liz, you know the reason for that, right? Why no trade-in?
I forget.
It's because the truck's more valuable to us than the 15% trade-in.
We really need a spare truck.
Okay, that's fine.
This, going through winter without one, we're constantly juggling, and
Okay,
it's just not worth it.
okay.
How many
So,
shovels could we buy with
so
that?
fiscal year 2025 is this year.
Yes,
So, but we wouldn't borrow until,
right, so we get the 1-year wonder, right? If you
Yeah.
bought it, the first payment wouldn't happen until the next budget year.
right, but isn't this the truck that we have to pay something for in advance?
Yes, we have to buy the truck separate from the plow equipment. because the plow equipment takes so long to get put on, the dealership can't hold on to it for that long without us paying for it.
So what do they want right now?
So if we were to order one right now, we'd probably have the truck arrive sometime mid to late fall. And they would have to sit on it for probably a year, 18 months before we get it.
What happens if we order it, if we get out a loan note July 1, which is the start of fiscal year 26? But we've already budgeted for fiscal year 26. That's not in our budget for fiscal year 26.
So, what generally happens, so let's just say we don't do a down payment at all, right? Let's just say we go buy the thing, we do I can't remember if it's a 5 or 7 year note we do. Cheryl, I can't remember which one. 7. The first payment wouldn't be due a year from when we bought it.
Is that right?
So we have a free year, basically.
Okay, so we have it for a year regardless, so if
It's
we.
not free, we still get the interest.
Right, right.
But it's a
right.
year no matter what, it's a 365 days
Yeah.
from the day you do your loan. So
Yeah.
even if we did a loan today,
Mhm.
we wouldn't, well, no, we don't wanna do it today, cause that's still in a budget year that we haven't budgeted. So it would have to be after July 1,
If you did it for when the truck showed up, which would be late fall,
yeah.
then you have a year, which is in a different budget cycle, to pay for it.
And then the plow you pay for when?
When that shows up.
Which is like how much
Another year
later?
later.
Another year later?
Is this still supply side problems from the pandemic
There-
or what?
The companies that build the bodies and install it, all of them are year to 18 months out.
Can
Wow.
we use the body without a plow? So it just sits in our garage?
Well, yeah, or instead of the dealer.
Or it sits at the dealer. Okay, so when we're doing our budget season for fiscal year 27, we're gonna be basically budgeting for the entire package. We're just paying, potentially getting 2 loans for that. One for the first part of the truck and one for,
Yeah, one
the
for like
plow
190,000 and then the other one would be for 100,000.
Is that considered aftermarket, equipment, the plow and so
Okay.
forth? Is there anybody else?
are you
that
putting
can-
that on your
that does
to-do
it?
list?
We're kinda limited
Okay.
on how many, we've got Tenco, Fairfield.
So this is fiscal year 27
Mhm.
Viking, they're all
payment,
in the
but
same
a
boat.
loan in fiscal year
The
26.
entire northeast for plowing is dependent on 3 manufacturers. The
Really, if
entire-
someone wants to start a new business, they could
Yep.
make a killing.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, and then also, we could use something from our,
We could.
asset equipment fund to just bring down the
Yeah.
plan, the loan note.
Certainly, and the idea behind that is depending on what the interest rate is at the time.
Right.
The interest rate is high, we probably want to put some money down.
Mhm.
The other thing we might want to think about going forward, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes, is we're going to have some bigger purchases starting in 2030 and beyond. That's when the fire engines generally are ready to be replaced.
Yeah,
So we have been contributing 50,000 a year to this fund. We might want to think about stepping that up, knowing that we're going to have some rather large purchases sort of in back-to-back years early in the next decade. Again, it'll all depend on what interest rates look like,
yeah,
right? Depending on how much we want to put down.
okay.
And as I've noticed in the last few years, all of fire trucks and state trucks are jumping up astronomically in price.
And I don't know if our history has been to buy used fire engines or not, or
It
just to
has
get
been.
new.
It's been used
Okay.
a lot.
We've done that.
Has it worked out well?
Well, fortunately, yes, so far. We bought that one from the state surplus, that's up at Shady
Didn't we
River.
buy one from Japan?
That's where it
That's
is,
the one.
yeah.
I mean, the kicker is with fire equipment versus our town trucks, you're just buying more of what you already have by
Right.
buying used. So, we don't need more headaches that we've already got.
I've got plenty of things.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the 2026 Komatsu loader. So that's fiscal year 26, which begins July 1. We're hoping to purchase that, meaning we would take the loan out in fiscal year 26.
So we take it out in fiscal year 26, the first payment would be due in fiscal year 27.
So that's the same as this one
Yes.
above us?
Yep.
Okay. Even though it says it's something in 25, but is that why is that?
So the international dump truck you're asking? Because originally it was scheduled to be purchased in fiscal year 25.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, but Eric held off.
Because of our money
Financial
issues with the
situation.
flood and.
I
Yeah.
see, okay, gotcha. All right, so really, we're calling this fiscal year 26.
Mm-hmm.
So two things, the international dump truck and the Komatsu loader.
How badly do you need that loader?
I don't, I mean,
Just wanted to ask.
I don't have a vacuum cleaner at my house right now. I think we can make do.
the loader's not such an issue as the truck.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Stacy.
Stacy.
Just about like the replacement schedule and how that's determined, a little context for me. Is it by hours on the vehicle, mileage, or just years? And then why?
You wanna answer that, Eric? No?
I can,
Well, either way.
So like with our trucks, you know, when we get them, they come with a warranty that's, 7 years. And we try to stay within that 7-year warranty, so we're not having to pay to repair the vehicle. With the bigger equipment like the grader and the loader, you get to 15 years, that's a long time on a piece of equipment where things start to wear out, it starts to get costly to repair. So you need to start thinking about getting rid of it while there's still value.
Yeah, gotcha. Did you wanna add to that, Mark?
just that basically there's a replacement, there's a useful life that's assigned to every piece of equipment. As Eric said, it's not when the thing's gonna die, it's probably a few years before, so you can get something for it in a trade-in.
Okay.
We've gone towards that 8-9 year mark and figured out that has not panned out in our favor.
Right.
Is really what it boils down to, Stacy. It just, after that 7-year threshold, it does not start, it does not pay back.
Not to mention that the last vehicle that we purchased, right, has been a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
That used piece of, what is it called? What's the name of that truck? Which one is it?
Oh, the Kenworth,
Kenworth.
yeah. That's,
What was the blue one driving
That's a
by that
Kenworth.
smelled so bad today?
well, that was the Kenworth. That was a very
It
good
smelled
use.
so awful. I thought it was my car. It kept,
No.
all the way to Montpelier it smelled it. I was like, maybe it's me.
No, it was a brake cam that went bad.
Yeah, it smelled like brakes.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so.
I'm gonna update your bi-monthly road report.
I was like, I really thought it was me. I was like, it still smells in Montpelier, and I was like, started smelling it on
think.
Culver Hill Road. Okay.
Yeah, Liz, that replacement estimated cost for the loader, I think would agree is probably pretty low.
Okay, so how much should we
I think
add
we're
to that?
probably more in like the 150, 175
Yes.
range.
Okay, let's do 175K. I love it. I just love adding tens of thousands of
Why
dollars
not?
to things.
This is what we do.
Okay, 175K for the Komatsu. And while we're at it, let's just add another 30K to the 30K town hall septic and make it 60K. I'm
Why?
kidding,
No.
because things cost money.
50 is gonna be I bet you the highest.
The highest, okay.
Yeah.
So let's make the town hall septic 40K, just to be on the safe side. So again, that is in the fiscal year 27 budget, which we start working on.
Right, so again, we would come up with the capital plan and we
Yeah.
basically say, hey, let's add, 40,000 to the town building fund.
Yeah.
Or you could just take it out of the town building fund and not fund that year. Depends
Yeah.
on how finances will work.
Yeah.
Something also you might wanna think about is we have another truck due after this one.
Mm-hmm.
And with the timeline of taking almost 2 years to get it, we might wanna think about, ordering it now.
Yep.
You
And,
talk about the Freightliner, right?
yeah, yeah. And that's not gonna be much less than the tandem, just so you know, probably
Yep.
about $10,000 less.
So 280,000
I bet
for
you-
the Freightliner. So do you think that we should do that for, fiscal year 26, order it in fiscal year 26?
I would suggest we do, so that it's not so far
Yeah, we
out.
have to, cause look, here it is down there, for 157,250. Why is it so expensive?
They are lots of money.
Okay,
And as a matter of fact, I don't know what it's gonna cost to fix the truck up to get it through this winter.
but when you say 2 years out, if we ordered it in
Or at least 18 months.
right, but if you, the Freightliner dump truck,
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I wouldn't want is a truck to be sitting for 18
yeah,
months,
me neither.
24 months as an advance. I can understand placing an order for equipment
Mm-hmm.
as like a placeholder for the equipment for the truck that we've not yet purchased. So that would be my only thing about purchasing a truck as the placeholder as opposed to purchasing the equipment as a placeholder, since the truck is not our holdup. What are we looking at for lead time on a truck?
The truck itself, less than 6 months.
And you can use it as a dump truck, right? It's an
Well, no,
implement.
you can't use
It
it. for any-
won't.
It doesn't have anything on it.
It will
It's
be
just
a
cabin
tractor.
chassis.
Yeah.
It's just a basic cabin
Be
chassis.
made for the parade. is what it'll do.
Okay, I think we need to revisit the Freightliner to figure out, so that we're not in this sort of same situation where we are right now, and we're ordering like 3 trucks in 1 year.
Exactly.
And so trying to figure out how we can strategically order it, so that it's not sitting with them for 2 years while we're waiting.
So thinking out loud, we're talking about potentially keeping a truck as a backup. The only thing I'll say to that is we really need to think about the maintenance increase of having that truck in the fleet, especially a truck that's older, and as we circulate through,
Can we sell the Kenworth?
do whatever we want.
Well, you can do whatever you want, I wouldn't do that.
Which one's the piece of crap?
Freightliner's really nice.
Can we sell the Freightliner?
Wait, why are we getting another Freightliner?
We're not.
Oh, okay.
We haven't got that far.
We're just replacing it, okay. Okay,
Never said we were.
okay.
It's just something we're gonna have to think about.
All right, so Mark, you will update these numbers to be
I
a little bit
will.
more realistic. And then the town shed roof, what's the town shed?
Our garage?
The garage, okay. So, I thought that was like a one-piece thing. It's not, it actually has its own separate roof. That was like
How did we come up with that, Mark?
yeah, 20,000 cents.
I wasn't there.
Okay,
This is back in
Is it a
2021.
flat roof? I can't remember.
no,
It's not flat.
flat enough, but.
Yeah, it's not.
Can I tell you that roofs are being quoted at like 70,000
Oh, yeah.
for like a house?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I actually
I-
just got 2 quotes
I
for
would not.
half a
put the
roof.
money
And
in
how
the
much
roof.
was it?
The lowest one was 12,500. That's just for the front half. The back
Yeah.
half isn't.
For like your house?
So I got an Alpine Snow Guard did damage, and Vermont has a rule that the whole roof has to match. So I can't just fix 5 panels. The whole roof that so that as people come up French Hill, they can see my beautiful roof, and it all matches. Vermont law. According to
Well,
all the
The only
insurance
thing
people. that
the only thing I would say about the town shed roof is that, is it even feasible with the building itself?
I would
That's one, like, the feasibility
Yeah.
of this is
I
even,
think that would be throwing money after money.
yeah.
It's not leaking, and if
Let-
it starts to leak, we
sleeping
can
leaks-
patch it with some
sleeping roof slide.
rubberized.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is, if there's any kind of air bridge between it that causes an insulating factor, we could be dealing with structural issues,
Yeah.
because that roof is only designed to handle so much weight. The melting factor is part of that.
And
as
if it
we-
collapses, then it's the
Right.
insurance's problem, not ours.
Right, well,
As long as we're
as long
not.
as these guys aren't in it.
No. We weren't planning for that at all.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, and
that
it
one
does,
might
I mean,
be
we
worth
already
it.
know that that town shed has outlived its
Far.
useful life.
Far.
Far outlived it, and to put a roof on it, to me, it does not make sense. And there
Yeah.
might be more stomach in the years to come for a
Different
town
approach.
shed capital campaign.
Much longer on the firehouse. I guess would be the
Oh,
question.
yeah, I think 2029 might be when the firehouse
There we
bond
go.
is done.
There
Oh,
we go.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, East Montpelier just approved a nice big bond for upgrading their town garage, so maybe we can channel their like juju,
Okay,
figure out what
that's-
they did to make the magic happen. I think it was like it's like a, oh, I want to say it was like a $5 million bond. It's a big project. And I know like East
Yeah.
Montpelier's got a little bit bigger of a grand list than us, but not by much. So I'd be kind of
Yeah.
curious to like sort of see how they addressed that, because it's a pretty big upgrade for them in terms of their highway facilities. So food for thought.
I think when we talked with the treasurer of East Montpelier, this would have been 3 years ago now, Elias, they had found, what, $1 million to put in their capital fund? Don't ask me where they found it, but
Huh.
they're pretty well off. So for them to have to bond something, they're, obviously costs have risen.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so, so my suggestion would be that we don't do the roof,
Yeah, cross that out.
just cross it out. I mean, I wouldn't get it out of the capital campaign, I mean, out of the capital budget, but, okay, so, we have already gone past our time. Are we, is there more to this?
Yep,
Is
I
there-
think we're
okay.
good.
So, is there anything that, while we have, I guess, was there anything that people had, any questions around these funds? And you said that these are with the funds that we budgeted for this last.
Yes, by June 30th.
By
yes.
June 30th, that's what's in there, okay. So there is something in the town, there's a town garage fund, okay.
Yes, separate.
Um, And then the conservation fund, that's higher than I thought. Building fund. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about was that, and this is just very briefly, something that I think we really do need to include as an extra fund for Cheryl to keep track of is a road repair weather fund, right? And that we are, and this is not going to be happy, but I think at the bare minimum, we need to be funding it with like $100,000 a year. Because road repairs, as we know, one road repair can cost $500,000. And I don't see us getting FEMA money anytime soon, with any natural disasters being declared because of the way that they are redefining the parameters around disaster repair. So I think that it's gonna be in our best interest to start building up a fund for major road repairs because we're not gonna get reimbursed.
I think the general public would agree that they've been impacted to some degree by these floods over
Yeah.
the last 2 years. So having a pool of money on hand that we own outright as opposed to a magical bank in the sky
Right.
at this point,
Or hoping the state's gonna be able to come to our rescue.
right,
Right.
definitely
So-
would put a lot of folks at ease and certainly would put our financial.
And it may increase our budget by a
Yeah.
significant percentage, but I don't see another way around it. Especially in these, and, worst case scenario, best case scenario is that, FEMA miraculously reappears, or there's some big monies that come to the states to manage it themselves, but in the meantime, I think it's in our best interest to do that.
Be
So
smart.
that is what I'm hoping that we put in our budget next year, and a nice big chunk to get us started.
Not doing anything isn't a good plan,
Exactly.
let's be honest.
Yeah, and and we know at this point, we're, at this very moment, it's hard to borrow for this kind of thing for us right now, so. Okay, thank you for that, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
And my alarm's gonna go off at a little before 6 in order for us to transition to the other Zoom meeting. But in the meantime, we are on the highway report and the FEMA update from Eric and Zara. So this is really just the same, I don't even change it, because just wondering how things are going with everything.
Yeah, so, I'm not sure we're gonna get FEMA to cover the 2 slides on Brook Road.
On Old Brook Road or New Brook
On
Road?
Brook Road.
New,
Okay.
regular.
Not looking positive on that. However, I do believe that's something the town crew can handle.
Okay,
And I think I'll price out renting a bigger machine, but I think it's something we definitely can handle.
and material, what kind of material would you need for that?
Oh, the same material we buy now, it's just we need a bigger machine to reach any further down.
You can't dredge the river and get the material from that, where it fell in?
Big heavy rocks.
I have a question.
Mm.
So sometimes if we wanna borrow a machine or we wanna buy one, they'll let you borrow one for the time being.
Cheryl, can you say that louder?
Just asking, because I have a family that sometimes if you want to buy a machine, they'll let you test run it for a couple weeks. So, that was just my question.
Not sure they do that with $350,000 excavators.
Probably not. But anyway, there's that, and then, started yesterday with the new asset management program. Started training on that, so they're hoping to have that up and running completely by August.
Nice.
And Old Brook Road, still waiting.
So right now, we have 3 different options to fix it. They're doing a cost analysis on that, for FEMA, and, that's where we're at.
Okay. How are we doing on funding?
Um,
Zara?
we've got about 1.6 million from the 4720 flood, the 3 roads that are left. And I haven't been seeing a lot of movement, so we're meeting with Andrew. I haven't
Thursday.
seen any,
1.6 million left to get.
from
Okay.
4720. We have, had 2 obligated roads for 4810, the 2024 floods. Unfortunately, it's, bigger percentage that they tack us for on that one. So Macy came in at $390,000, we'll get 290.
90K Macy
390,
costs, and you'll get what?
about 293,000.
That's 75%?
Yep. And I mean, the state will chip in some as
Yeah.
well, but not much more than that.
Our
The
cost on that is 7%, we thought, right? For
7.5, I think, yeah.
for
Can
2024.
Zara, can you provide some color just, and I mean this more like as a first time, like I haven't, like why? Cause you said, originally they had obligated $390,000 for Macy's culvert repairs and now they're at 293. Is that a result of like the hydraulic studies or just like?
Nope. It's, so the total value of it is $390,000, but FEMA, when we have these disasters, FEMA only covers 75%. And so 25% is left for us, the municipality. However, because we did our hazard mitigation properly, this, that, and the other thing, then the state will come in at like 17.5%, cover that much of the 25, which leaves us at 7.5% to pay for from the municipality.
Is that, that was a different, I was gonna say, that was a different allocation, cause wasn't under the 4720 FEMA was agreeing to pay like 90%, and then the state had the 10%, and of that we were only like 1.3% of the 10%, or
2.5, yes.
2.5%. Okay, so we're like all of these, like you'll have your grand total of damages for the 2024 for flooding and the breakdown of reimbursement from FEMA and then the allocation of the balance of those costs to be borne by the state and the town is going to be more for the state and for us just because of the circumstances of the flooding financing.
Correct, because
Okay,
for
thank
whatever
you.
reason, they, yeah.
Okay.
The other roads, set of roads was the one that our crew did 100%, which covered about 5 roads, North Bear, Nellie, Tangletown, Colby, and Davy. Unfortunately, that was only $89,000 worth of work, so we'll get 67.5.
But that's okay.
Yeah, but that's okay, that's not money we had to pay somebody else or we
Yeah.
didn't get charged for, so. Behind that'll be Daniel's Farm, McCullough Hill, Norton and Notch. Things are moving a lot faster for 2024 4810 stuff.
Why's that, Zara?
What's
Why's that?
Well, because we're doing short form, or what are they, I'm not sure of the technical.
Because there was one contractor and you guys had the other, there were only a couple little miscellaneous things, but pretty much you guys were allowed to use dirt tech.
It's not, that's not the
You
reason.
know,
So
things like-
for the 2023 flood, they had me filling out this certain spreadsheet and they had to really go through like granular every piece of information that Dirt Tech did. I had filled those out for 2024 and then they said, no, we're gonna do simplified this time. So it's different sheets and really they just want the basic information. They're not even going through our receipts to make sure that they match. They're just like, yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
totally,
What's holding us up, we asked for mitigation, so things like head walls and wing walls for the culverts that have been replaced, that make them just that much stronger, so that they give us a little bit of more money in advance, so that we can do that work in the future.
and it's, yeah, that's covered at 100%.
But also, I think part of it is because they know that they're ending. I mean, all of this is we've got new project development managers. Every 15 weeks, they change over. But these guys are moving out of Burlington, July 1st, and they're going to Connecticut. And Trump has said that at the end of hurricane season, FEMA's gonna be done. So they all know, they're scrambling.
But
Just
July
trying-
1, if we don't have everything, doesn't mean
No.
the end.
No.
It
It's
doesn't.
just they're not in
They're
Vermont
just
anymore.
not sitting in Williston in their office.
Right, they'll be in Connecticut.
Okay.
But they do have everything. They have all the
Yeah, and
paperwork
we
for
Zoom-
us,
we Zoom
from
in all
us.
the time.
But you think
Oh.
4810 has been easy as far as you pulling together information and putting it in the form?
Yes, like you see what I send you. There's a contractor one, there's a material one, there's a labor one, and there's an equipment one. And most of the stuff, I just have to fill out the contractor one because it was Dirt Tech.
And do you think that some of that 4810, it was easier to do it that way because it was an overlap in the flooding? You know what I mean? So like 4720, they're like, oh, well, that was actually caused by that flood, not this one.
Yeah, I don't know what their reasoning is, other than that they know they need to get the stuff out the door because they're about to lose their jobs and close up shop.
Yeah.
And they want to get municipalities like ours the money that we are owed. So the one holdup that I'm concerned about for 4810 is Brook Road, because that one was more than $1 million. That was $1.3 million. So with that one, we had to do the long form like we did 2024, and here we are, 2 years later from 2024, trying to close out 3 roads still.
Can I also ask, I saw, that's my reminder that we are
5 minutes away,
5 minutes away.
but you've got time to ask.
Can I ask that, I saw that today you responded to the email on report 14
Yes.
from Dirt Tech?
Yep.
Is that, do you guys have that under control?
Yep.
Is there concerns
Yep.
about that or anything? Okay.
And that's just, we've done it twice already, we just gotta file for,
Like an amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And, okay, and then, Brendan, either you can give us a very abbreviated version from the fire department, because we have to stop at 6. We did get your,
There's not much.
okay, we did get your notes, so why don't you just go through that quickly if you don't
Sure.
mind?
Yeah, of course.
And then we'll adjourn in like 4 minutes, 3
Great.
minutes.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not
great.
gonna take that long. So our total calls this year is 31. Our calls during this period is only 4. We had no mutual aid outs. We had only 1 mutual aid in from Montpelier Ambulance. Our max member response is 8. Our minimum member response is 6, which is an average of 7. So that's pretty great. Engine 1 was out 3 times. Engine 6 was out, was not out at all. Tanker 1 was out once. Rescue 1 was out twice. Truck 14 was out 0 times, and we had 3 personal vehicle responses. We responded to Simplicity Anchors on Zedon Road for a tree on the power lines. On 6/8, we went to mile marker 55 for a car fire, but we were canceled. On 6/10, we went to I-89 for another motor vehicle accident with 5 responders. On 6/15, very recently, we went to our Route 2 for a 3-car motor vehicle accident with 8 responders. Fast Squad had 10 total calls for the reporting period, and 8 of them were medical only calls. For training, we did pump training and hydrant training by doing some bridge washing around town. And next month's training will be a visit to dispatch in Montpelier to familiarize old and new members with a dispatcher's job. We had no repairs, no purchases, and no notes.
Great. Alrighty, any questions for our fabulous volunteer fire department?
And the weatherization is done.
Oh, that's right, yeah, I think that went well.
Yeah, I
do
heard
some-
about that.
We're gonna do some cleaning tonight.
Lowry said the prize goes to Bill Price, is that who it is? For his volunteer
Yeah.
service. So
Yeah.
thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. He was there for some long hours.
Yes, he was there for some long hours. So thank you, Bill.
Got it done, so I hope
Oh,
it
he's
will.
on, well, he's on, okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Bill.
he's here. I hope that it
Okay.
will help you. I mean, it's surprising what the modernization of of how they insulate housing or buildings. Was
I
very
know, isn't it
unique.
crazy? It's wonderful, and Lowry said they had a good lower door test.
Yes, they did.
All right, so is there anyone here on the Zoom that is planning to attend the
Public hearing.
public hearing? Nancy and Bill, are you?
No.
Okay. And so Stacy, we need to get off of this Zoom and sign on to the public hearing Zoom.
Are you gonna talk, Liz, are you gonna talk about anything about town hall? Status of what's going down on it?
No,
Okay,
no, not for this agenda.
thank you.
Thank you for coming, and thanks for your volunteering. All right, so we're gonna temporarily adjourn this meeting at 5:59 to do the public hearing. So let's get out of here. Select-board meeting, is there a motion to re-adjourn?
Yes, I make a motion.
Okay, Larry moves, is there a second? I'll second. Okay, Zara seconds, all those in favor of re-adjourning our meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now we are going to take under consideration the proposed zoning changes to the industrial district west of Middlesex Village, action possible. So we are going to perhaps have some discussion, but it's basically changing our zoning district map to make the industrial district west of Middlesex Village now a mixed-use district. Can I just confirm actually something? Is this the whole area or just
Where it says industrial, just where it says.
just where it says industrial?
Right across from.
We're
the-
not like cutting it up at all? Okay, we're taking the whole thing, because there's more industrial down below.
Right.
Gotcha, okay. And then I had one other quick question. Is this the only mixed-use district currently in Middlesex?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we're gonna make this whole area the mixed-use district. Okay. Any discussion, select board meeting, people?
I'll start off, I'm all in favor, kind of echoing what Sarah has mentioned. It's awesome to see a local business who's already within our town, within the downtown community, being able to, or wanting to have the ability to expand. I love that. We've all come to love Red Hen, employer of many folks.
60 full-time
wow.
employees.
You know, so for me, that's big. No different than what Sarah mentioned, the fact that being able to have a business grow, and, you know, Middlesex doesn't have a lot of opportunity for that. I'm all in favor for it, so that's where I'm at.
Great, thank you, Paul.
Make the motion.
Any other comments?
Just one that I'm also in very much in favor of this. I'd hate to see Red Hen leave because they couldn't make the
Yeah.
appropriate,
Yeah.
you know, and we lose them in town. I don't see any reason not to approve this. We had no objections to it from the
Right.
public, so
Okay.
I'm in favor of it as well.
Great, perfect, thank you, Larry.
I'll add my favor as well, especially with the added potential tax benefits.
Yeah, me too. Here,
I
here.
will add my support to all of that.
Great.
And also though, I think it's good that it's not just like turning this into mixed use, but I like the changes that they've made to the mixed use that will potentially incentivize like residential development, because we can, I don't know, I mean, I think once this is in place, I look forward to like more conversations about how we as a town, like what incentives we can offer as a town to the commercial entities that are interested in maybe developing or utilizing the mixed use district in our space. Yeah.
I think it's worth noting too, kind of some of the safeguards that they've put in there for things that we don't see would fit within the town, not to only make it about Red Hen, but it's nice to see that we've also still kept some protection around, you know, what interests us as a town and a community. So I appreciate the effort that the planning commission has done on this.
Yeah, because we wouldn't, like, it should be really important to know for the record, like, we're not changing the zoning for Red Hen.
Right.
That's illegal.
Right.
But Red Hen's story is a really good example of how the proposed changes stand to benefit the businesses that are already here, and hopefully, you know, invite or, you know, create more opportunities for other smaller scale retail / manufacturing businesses that are thinking about this and find the proximity to I-89 and that interchange very desirable. Although it's Larry, I was just saying, Larry and I were talking about this the other week, because it was just like, between the intersection, we are bisected by a railroad, Route 2, and I-89, and so
And
it
a
does
river.
feel like and a river that floods, a big one. So, you know, realistically speaking, the cards really are stacked against our little town in terms of like wild commercial development and increasing our commercial tax base. This, I think, is a great first step, and just like, it seems to me like this should be one of many conversations of like, how can we try and increase our grand list value, increase our tax base, our revenue, through the, you know, mixed use district, and are there any other commercially viable options in our, you know, in our town? So like, it's like, I'm like a yes, and I want more, because I'm super excited to see this, and just hope we can keep talking about this as we go along.
Thank you, Stacy. Alrighty, so is there a motion?
I'd be proud to make a motion to change this from industrial to mixed use.
Is
I
there a
will
second?
second that.
Alrighty, so Paul seconds, all right, firsts, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, congratulations.
Thank you.
I just ask you to, there's additional changes.
Right.
No,
that easy.
What do you mean?
you just voted to change this to
Yeah.
mixed use. There's also district standards that are proposed to be
Oh.
changed,
Do we have
and
to
the height
know that?
requirements are proposed to be changed.
Oh,
If a friendly amendment proposed to accept,
All three of those.
okay, but we need to write what they are.
Height requirements,
or
what is it? Height requirements?
The height requirement,
or to propose to adopt the zoning changes as proposed by the Middlesex Planning Commission.
That, exactly.
okay.
I heard that. That's why. Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
So can I move to make sure that we just a move to approve the zoning changes as proposed by the Middlesex Planning Commission?
There you go.
Yeah.
And I'll second that one.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes. Alrighty, so is this it now?
That's
Is it
it
done?
for you. The planning commission needs to do some work. We need to update everything, send it off to the state. You need to review. I think after they adopt it, any change, it becomes effective in 21 days. And in this interim time, you have to review any proposal under both standards.
I review any proposal under both standards. I can approve them under the new standards, but if someone were to come back and you can be presented with a petition to vacate what you've just done.
Oh, within 21 days.
Yeah,
I see.
so,
I got you. Someone could come and say, that's and get signatures. Okay, gotcha, that's fine.
We'll also have to update the zoning map, the
Right.
official zoning map. So right now, it just says proposed, and also make sure we make the change on the online.
Right,
map.
that's our job,
Yeah,
that's the planning
yeah.
commission's job. You're gonna help me with that.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, thank you so much for coming,
Thank you.
folks, from the
Thank you.
Planning Commission. Thank you for your service to the town.
that's what substance.
It's so
I
appreciated.
know.
And thank you for coming, Randy.
Thank you, everybody.
And now we are on to,
Approving.
oh, the approving the, are you okay with that, Stacy? No?
No.
I was gonna say, like, I have been straight out.
That's
I
fine.
would, like,
It's not a rush. I put it on there because we hadn't, so we're gonna pass over the, final review. Oh my gosh, this meeting's coming to a close. I can't wait. Okay, keep
Wait, no,
going.
we've got that, yeah, we got a
Okay, so
couple
we're
things.
putting this on hold, the final review and possible approval. I'll put it on for next, but Stacy, feel free to, we can just table it again. Okay, so then orders, do you have those? You have the right here, and is this payroll as well, or just, okay, so payroll is also, and payments, payroll and payments. Okay, so I did wanna talk about a summer schedule for the board meeting, but hold on, Sam and Shelley. Are we gonna have some potential, we don't know yet, like BCA meeting? Potentially if someone,
We wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know until
yeah, we
after
don't
the
know,
grievance.
till after
Yeah.
the grievance.
Yeah, we've got to send, after the grievance hearings are done, we have 7 days to send out the results of the grievance hearing to them. And then
Okay.
they have a right to turn around and ask for BCA.
Okay, so that is, when do your grievances start, this weekend?
Friday and Saturday, yeah.
Friday and Saturday, and that's all you have, are Friday and Saturday, you have
Yeah.
like next week, okay, so let's look at our calendars. I'm just sort of thinking like, because we're already almost in July.
Right.
Okay, so yours are the 21st and 20th.
And
They have,
I think okay, that's.
You have 7 days.
Well,
You have-
I think it has to be done by July 2nd, because we have to launch the grand list,
oh, right, what has to be done by July 2nd?
the grievance hearings, so I think the BCA meeting would have to be done. I'd have to look at legislative law, they've changed so much this year, it's unreal. But I'm pretty sure for under 5,000.
But we're not gonna have anything July 2nd,
No, I didn't see it before.
right? Yeah,
No.
there's nothing that's gonna be like, oh, we have to have, okay, yeah.
Right.
So I would propose, because that's the week of July 4th, that we cancel July 2nd meeting, because there's 5
July 1st.
Tuesdays in July.
First meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, July 1st.
Mhm.
I think there's 5. 1, 2,
There are.
3, 4, 5, right. So we could do the 3rd and 5th, which would be the 15th and 29th. What are people's vacation plans? Do people have them? I'm actually gone the 1st, but, someone else could chair.
I don't have vacations till beginning of August.
Okay, what about you? Do you have anything? Paul?
I just work.
You just
I wanna say, we haven't.
You?
I stay here in the summertime,
We've
I
never
wanna leave in
had one,
January.
but I wanna say open on it. We've never had anybody come back and want one, but there's always a first.
Oh, so what is it that we have the BCA meetings for? Those are for like property tax, like when you have,
We're not talking Board of Abatement, we're saying
Right.
if they don't agree with the grievance hearing,
That would be the next step.
that'd be the next
Yes.
step, right?
Right, right.
That hasn't happened since I've
Okay,
become a lister, so, but it doesn't mean it.
So we could either
Because I've
do-
done one.
Huh?
I
Well,
said it
could
does happen because I've
As
done
I
one.
said, it could happen.
We did the
Yeah.
15th.
Happened to time
She just said it
time
hasn't
for it.
It hasn't happened yet.
So
Yeah.
we do one meeting in July.
well, there's 5 weeks in July. I think
Yeah.
we're gonna need more than that
So we
because
do
we're
the
gonna have to
29th and
sign
then we come
orders
back on
and
the
stuff.
5th?
Well, so we could do, well, I guess what I'm saying is we could do the 8th and the 22nd and then come back on the 5th.
I cannot attend, I don't believe I'll be able to attend the 8th. I have that week blocked off.
Okay,
Um,
so if
Which
we.
is fine.
Yeah.
If there's nothing, like, if nobody else can
That's okay.
come.
No, that's, yeah, that's
no
okay.
problem.
So,
Well, and you're going on the first, Liz, so
I'm going on the
either
first.
way,
Well,
either
I'm
one of
kinda
those, we're
gone.
down somebody.
That's fine, I
But
can
we
run a
don't-
meeting,
Oh,
but,
I'm
Yeah.
gone the 29th too, I'm in California.
so let's just do the 15th. Can't we just do the 15th of July, then have 2 weeks off and then come back?
We could, we may need to come in and sign orders.
I was just gonna say, I could process those and leave them on the counter like
Yeah.
I've done before
Yeah,
in the
so
summer.
I could stop in, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so, so we're on the, okay, guys, but this is what I'm saying. There's no meeting for like 4 weeks. Like if we, not 4, but today is the 17th. We don't have a meeting on the 24th. We're not gonna have it on the 1st, the 8th, and we won't have one until the 15th. That seems like a long time, but maybe,
Do we
There's
have a
nothing
lot
to
of
talk
business?
about.
Is there stuff that we need that's like pressing? Then let us,
Cause we could do one on the first, if there's nothing,
I think I think the idea is that we want to have a break.
so let's just do the 15th in July and have a break.
you can't be on both sides. You either have to say, yes, we want the break, or that guy's, it's too
Okay, is there
long.
any law that we have to have a select board meeting?
Twice a month?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so let's
But
just
that's what
have,
we decided at the beginning
Yeah,
of our
yeah.
session.
okay.
I think if we don't have a bunch of things like piled up for us to deal with, then let's enjoy the
Okay.
summer and do the 15th in July and then.
Okay, and if, let's just say something comes up
then we
and
can
it's
add
like
one.
we have to meet, we'll meet on the 8th. If we have
Or the
to.
22nd,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
29th,
Let's just
or
take
whenever
it.
that comes in.
Yeah, okay. So, so what we can also just maybe is tell people that we're
On vacation.
on vacation.
You're a
I
select
mean,
board-
I have to say, we had the last 2 summers were flood summers, and we met a lot, so we deserve this.
Yes, I
And
don't
we're not
think,
gonna have another flood.
And we're not gonna have another flood.
it's not gonna affect anybody, but the people who come here and the 2 people who maybe show up.
Exactly, okay.
Nobody's, do you care?
But we are
Do you
gonna have to
mind?
do orders, and you will let us know. Okay, so we're gonna do the 15th. This is exciting. I don't think I've ever had
Liz
this
feels
many
her
like
bill-
time
well,
off.
she feels a little
You feel like
guilty
a bad
about it.
girl,
Yeah.
don't you?
I do. And then the 5th and the 19th. Oh, look, I'm
Yeah.
camping on the 19th.
That's okay, I'll run it.
Okay, so Sarah will run the meeting on the 19th. And when are you gone? Paul? Didn't you say August?
I said
thought you
August.
said
Oh, when are you gone?
I'm gone the first week, so I won't be here on the 5th if they have one on the 5th.
Oh, guess what? I'm not there either, but I'm hoping to come back that day.
That's
I'm
weird.
Well, in
gone.
that case, then maybe we
reconvene
should
when
do the
school starts
15th and the 29th of July,
Oh, wait a minute.
and the,
No.
no,
I was looking forward to those,
okay,
all that time off.
all right.
Because it's a 5-week.
But I mean, if we have 3, I mean.
Yeah, if we have
four,
3, it's fine,
it's fine.
yeah. Stacy, when are you getting in the van and taking off?
Right around, like, it's like mid-July, so
Okay.
I was gonna say, like, I'm 90% sure I can do the 15th.
Okay, but that's fine if you can't, we'll
after,
be around.
but like, yeah, like basically, if we're not meeting again, I guess, yeah, I will be from places, various locations, for the foreseeable future. Now that
Okay.
it just occurred to me, yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, and Carol, does that work for you for notes?
Yeah.
She
I'm
likes
around
that.
till
She's like, yeah, I like
September.
that I only have to
I
go a
like
couple weeks.
January, I'm gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
January, February, get
But
outta
we're
here.
training you to do it via Zoom. It's gonna be good, right?
Why not?
You can do it during
I think
the
it
Florida
gets, it's
cocktail
like,
Like happy hour.
gets easier.
That is
Yeah.
easier,
Okay, so that sounds good, so we're gonna say on the minutes that we are doing, so we're gonna invite, so the August meeting is gonna be the 5th. I have this meeting from this lady here that says, "Good afternoon, Liz, my name is Taylor Sisson. I'm a project manager at the Vermont Agency of Transportation. I am managing the design of a culvert replacement project on Route 12 in Middlesex near the Wrightsville Reservoir, and I'm reaching out to see about giving a brief presentation on the project to the town." Oh, late July or August, so we'll have her come for August.
Yep, the 5th or the 9th.
I'll have her come for the August 5th meeting. Okay?
Does she say which culvert?
She doesn't, but do you want me to ask her?
I was just curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking it's that giant one, but I thought they just did that, like right as you take a right, when you get off of Culver Hill Road, there's that big culvert. That's what I think.
There's a
she's
lot of
talking about.
culverts through there.
I think it's like a big box culvert, but maybe
Yeah,
not.
it's hard to.
Oh, there's a lot of culverts there, yeah.
Or,
Okay.
They've
Oh.
replaced a lot of them in the
Right.
last several years.
Okay, so she's gonna come on August 5th to do that. All right, cool. And are there any other matters that come before the board?
Yes, because it was in the notes, I'm sorry, but
Oh, right, we
the
wanna talk
cemetery
about-
brush removal stuff.
Oh, yeah, the cemetery brush removal.
Yeah,
You and I looked at it.
and I only went to the village cemetery here, but to kind of back up what the general consensus has been, there's a lot of brush that's covering several gravestones.
Yes.
The fence, at least on the railroad side, is non-existent at this point, at least from a visual standpoint. I don't know what the other cemeteries look like, I haven't had the opportunity to, but just the amount of work I saw over there. One of the big things, funding of this, I'm not sure what is in a pool or a fund, that would allow this work to take place.
I think we figured out last time that because North Branch has money and then the cemeteries have money, that we had the 8,000, but there's actually more money because of the North Branch.
Yeah, because, North Branch pays the expenses for North Branch.
Right.
So the mowing and everything, so anything after that has to come out of our cemetery budget.
So how much
For the
did we
other two.
have in the cemetery budget?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you think we have another $2,000 so that we can have brush cleared out and have the cemetery
July 1st.
properly?
Not right now.
I thought it was
Okay.
8,000.
Because remember there was.
No,
there's
well, it
an
was
overlap.
8,000
You
to
had the
mow
fall
and everything,
last
he's
year and
asking
the
for
spring
2,000 to
stuff.
take care of the brush and haul it out and clean up the, and it is under our $3,000 purchase policy RFP thing. So he just wants to get the job done.
Well, that, we're using the contractor we've hired to do the mowing anyway, so I feel a little bit better about.
Yeah, so I think he just wanted an answer so that he could do the job, if we had the $2,000 after July 1st
Yeah, after
to
July
pay him.
1st, I mean, it'll come from somewhere, we've got a discretionary fund as well.
Have you been down there? Have you looked
No.
at it?
Yeah, it's,
No, I mean, I've been getting complaints about that.
I'm
and
sure.
having stuff over the headstones and stuff.
Yeah.
so.
to be honest, a lot of them, you couldn't even maintain some of those headstones if you
No,
wanted to,
no.
really. right?
One I couldn't even, the tall one I couldn't even see because
Yeah.
that lilac
Yep.
had just grown
Yeah.
right around it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I don't know that we have money for it, and we definitely don't have money for that in particular budgeted for
We-
this next year because we didn't know about it.
But we do because we only did the $8,000 contract thinking that that's only the pool of money we had, but in fact, there is more money for the cemeteries than that 8,000.
So maybe we do, okay,
We
yeah,
do.
okay, so.
And Cheryl's getting complaints from people, members of the town.
About what?
About the headstones all being covered up.
Okay, but
Lack
also
of
just keep in mind
Yeah, lack
that that's a cemetery commission
Mhm.
problem,
Right.
not yours, and it's not ours either, but we're just taking it on. So, and Stacy, I never asked Rob Halper about that, how we were taking over the cemetery commission because there was nobody there. But I will. So I did want to address though, Sam, because we were just sort of informally talking about the question that Sam had in an email today, which was about whether or not we can say that it's undue, use the states out for recording grievance hearings with,
It's for posting, so we have to record.
oh, you
So
have to,
there's no way around that.
you have to record it on Zoom?
No, there doesn't have to be video, and we don't have to have it, it's kind of our decision if we wanna do a hybrid, and we decided not to. But it has to be recorded. It can just be audio. We were just talking about how we were gonna record it. But it's a matter of what I came to you about with open meeting law. We're supposed to post it on a website, and it's supposed to be there for like 32 days or something. But
Post
if-
the recording?
Yes, yep, yeah.
Okay, so you have to record it, it's about posting.
Yes, it's about posting it to the town website, so this
I
is
see.
within the open meeting law. But there's, like you said, there's an out for undue hardship. And the person from VLCT, they didn't go into detail of, they just said to your select board would know. And chances are they already.
Which we didn't, but I think that, maybe what I'll do is I'll look into it a little bit further. I'd say for this weekend, just record it, right, since you have to record it anyway, and worry less about posting it. And you take minutes as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so the minutes would get posted somewhere.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't see why it's just this recording business.
Which just started.
Yeah, and this
As
was
of
from the
recent.
legislature, wasn't it? I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, have they ever actually worked in a town where they had to do this?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Sorry, legislators, I know you work hard. Okay, so does everyone understand that? Like, we are supposed to, as a board, vote on, and maybe I can put that on the agenda for the 15th, is to actually make a formal motion that we're going to say that we have the out of undue hardship for posting, because we don't post our Orca posts on, they post their meetings.
Yeah, when I was looking into it, I was like, well, I don't see any other committees posting their
Environmentally, it's a
meetings.
terrible thing, we shouldn't be having that, like, the bandwidth that it takes to upload those things it has a very high environmental impact. So we shouldn't, I don't know why they even thought they should think about that. Okay,
I
so.
don't wanna stop talking about the cemetery. I know you don't wanna take a vote, but I think all of us have looked at it and it's a problem that we wanna solve, and we've got the money to do it.
Oh, we do have the money to do it?
As July 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we had to look to see on July 1st. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'd like to just,
Yeah, okay.
So-
Can I
Solve
get
the
a
problem.
clarifying question on that?
Yes.
Is this brush that someone's dumped, or is this just overgrown?
It's
overgrown.
It's lack of maintenance over the last
God
20
knows how many
years.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would be fine with voting on it, but with the caveat that we get in touch with Gary Lamel.
Yep.
And tell him.
And you know what? I'm more than happy to have that conversation
Yeah.
with him since I'm
Okay.
speaking with.
So if you
Randy
would,
as
and
well.
just say that we voted to pay extra to do that, that would be
Yep.
fine. So is there a motion? We didn't actually.
I would like to
warn
make
it,
a
but
motion.
Do we need?
I don't think we need a motion, because it's in the budget.
Okay.
There's money in the budget.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need a motion.
I think it's the right thing to do.
I agree, yeah, I mean.
No,
it's a
I know,
little
it's
bit-
pretty, yeah.
As someone who, if I had a family member in there wanting to visit that
I
headstone,
mean,
I'd be rather upset.
Most of the headstones are pre-Civil War, but it's still,
Yeah.
it's
It's just, yeah.
disrespectful. It's our job to take care of it.
Right.
Let's take care of it.
Okay, so, and perhaps some of those people that have complained to you would like to join the cemetery commission.
Yes.
I've tried.
I mean, it's like, it takes a village, people,
Just-
literally, the village
Just
people.
like the lady who complains about the coffee cup. I offered that she could come and help for Green Day, and Green Cleanup Day, Green Good Day, whatever it's called. She wasn't interested in coming and picking up coffee cups.
Oh, well. Okay, so is there any other matter that comes before the board?
Are there any of the 25 goals we kind of need to, the only thing that stands out to me is the heating system, I just
Yeah.
don't want that.
Larry's still on that.
He's still on,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, he's still on that, yep, and, yeah, so that's not going away, but you're right, time is marching on.
Should we
Yeah.
add it to the 15th? It's another 3 weeks away.
Yep, let's add it to the 15th.
Yeah.
So hold on, we are adding to the 15th, we're talking about,
It's the heating system.
heating system, what was the other thing?
The,
Oh, voting
purch-
on.
Purchasing policy.
Yeah, purchasing policy, but also voting on, posting of recorded, meetings of committees and the like. So, like Sandy and you guys, you record your meetings? Well, you must because it's Zoom.
Everything was on Zoom. I went in today, there was like 83 pages of Zoom
That's ridiculous.
recorded meetings.
Yeah.
You can actually copy a link too, but it's also, it's like,
Sam, I
It
would put
takes
it on
forever.
Zoom. Do the grievances have to be public meetings? Can anyone from the
It
public?
is an open meeting, so it falls under the open
Yeah.
meeting laws, but it does not have to be. So what we were talking about doing is, because we have to record it,
Yeah.
I don't wanna record it on my cell phone.
No.
So we were trying to figure out how to do it. So I already set up a Zoom link, because doing the research with the open meeting laws, I thought, it's pretty confusing, but I thought you had to have the option to do hybrid, so someone could Zoom in.
Yeah.
You don't. So I did the steps to like put it on for a
Yeah.
Zoom, and then I actually spoke to an attorney today, and you don't have to. So we're not gonna do it, because with that, with having it hybrid and the remote option, there's more nuances with it, and we're trying to handle, because Sarah helped a lot with this stuff, so we're trying to
Yeah.
get a hold of like everything we need to do to be in compliance first.
Yeah.
And then maybe next year, we can try to make it better for residents. We just wanna make sure we're in compliance this year. But we were thinking of maybe still doing it via Zoom to record it.
Yeah.
Just use it for that.
And then
Yes.
maybe if someone wants to grieve, I just ran this by, maybe if someone wants to grieve and they're older and they can't come up these stairs, you know, would we be able to like take the laptop if we're in the Zoom meeting, take it downstairs so that we can, because we already know of like someone who's coming who's quite a bit older and this isn't handicap accessible.
Unfortunately, everything's connected to this laptop, so you can't take it
So you
downstairs
can't
and
take it
still be
downstairs.
connected to.
Is the
Well,
elevator work out right?
I wouldn't use the owl. Like, I wouldn't use the owl. I would just literally log in, open the meeting in Zoom,
Yeah,
just so
Zoom
that I
will
could just so that I could record. So I wouldn't be using like this whole setup.
Oh.
Like, it wouldn't be like people can log in via Zoom, because that's not a requirement that we have to do. We have to,
Record it.
we have to be here in person, at least one person. That's a requirement, so people can walk in, if they wanna grieve, if they don't have an appointment, but we do have appointments. We're just trying to figure out how to.
It's 1%'s 88, and I just don't know how she's gonna do with the stairs.
Yeah.
No, don't make it, but I would also warn you that that computer looks so old, you probably have to take a power cord with you. It doesn't look like it's gonna last for like a grievance meeting. So, okay, so we'll put that on, we'll put the purchasing system for town hall, voting and posting and recording meetings, and what was the other thing that we talked about? Oh, Taylor. Or no, Taylor was August.
Yep.
Taylor was August 5th, okay. All right, anything else? Alrighty, and then, so we are, if there isn't anything else that comes before the board, we'll adjourn this meeting at 6:45, and we will see you all on July 15th.